Hey, it's me, Nalthazar, and welcome to another video. In this one, I'm going to be showing off Nesting Grounds, which is a brand new exclusive that's going to be entering the vault today. Nesting Grounds is a 9-mana support that reads, at the beginning of your turn, convert 2 gems to loyalty gems. Then, at the end of your turn, if your first creature is buffed and/or has one or more basic evergreen abilities, the first creature card in your hand gets +1/+1 and gains one of that basic evergreen abilities chosen randomly. Now, the basic evergreen abilities are Flying, Berserker, First Strike, Double Strike, Death Touch, Defender, Hexproof, Lifelink, Menace, Reach, Trample, and Vigilance. My favorite evergreens to try and pass on are Hexproof, Double Strike, and Lifelink. Not in that order. My favorite would probably go Double Strike first, Hexproof second, and Lifelink third, just because I think those are the best ones. So in order for Nesting Grounds to work, you want to run it with creatures that are going to be able to pass on their evergreen abilities. And on its own, it's just 9 for a land that's going to convert 2 gems to loyalty, which is already a fairly solid ability if you like running loyalty converters. Now, I figured that Nesting Grounds' best friend was going to be Crystalline Giant. In my last exclusive showcase video on the Ant, I got a lot of really positive feedback for making a deck that was not Mythic or Masterpiece heavy. Actually, it had none. So I decided to try and do the same thing here for this video too. Crystalline Giant is 12 for a 3/3, and at the beginning of combat on your turn, this creature gets +1/+1 and a random basic evergreen ability it doesn't have. There were matches where I was getting this with 10 plus basic evergreens. One of my coalition mates actually posted a screenshot of himself getting 20 basic evergreen abilities on Crystalline Giant. The downside to this card is it's really more of a gimmicky card than it is a particularly useful card, especially because of the random nature of you getting random evergreens here, and then the random nature of you passing on random evergreens here. So it definitely adds an element of randomness to your games. Now, the other cards that I wound up running with Nesting Grounds were Swiftblade Vindicator, and I used this one because I wanted to pass on its Double Strike ability. And then I wound up also running it with Kunoros, Hound of Athreos, so that it could pass on both Lifelink and First Strike. So First Strike makes it so that with the Double Strike Berserker guy, it's going to be able to hit for First Strike twice instead of once, which is pretty nifty. And then the Lifelink is, of course, useful for Lifelink purposes. The rest of the deck is going to consist of other cards that are going to be converting gems to loyalty. So Bonder's Enclave, which is also going to get the Ferocious boost with our Hound to draw an extra card per turn. And Fabled Passage, which is going to also convert to loyalty gems. But on top of that, when this support is destroyed, you're also going to get to fetch the first other land support from your library. So this is another way that we can try and fetch Nesting Grounds from our deck, since Nesting Grounds is also a land. Other than that, I ran Support Destruction, I ran removal in the form of Justice Strike and Consecrate's Consume, and finally the last card in the deck is Thrill of Possibility, just to get a little bit of extra card draw. So let's go ahead, get into some gameplay, and show you how this card works. As starting hands go, this isn't too bad. We've got the Giant, and we've got Thrill of Possibility to draw cards. So given that we have a red into white match, I'm actually going to go ahead and play the Thrill of Possibility, since I will get the Adamant, and that means that the cards will get mana. Getting the Giant down early is very nice, because it's going to start stacking evergreen abilities. And so with it stacking the evergreen abilities when we get the nest down, that means that we're going to be able to try and make it so that we pass more on. Now at this stage, I'm really just going to go ahead and try and fish for the nest. So I'm going to go ahead and use another Thrill of Possibilities, trying to get into that nest. So we don't have it early, but that's okay. I'm actually using this in a PvE match, as you can see, because this deck is actually going to, the card is going to work a lot better in PvE, just in that you're going to have more of an opportunity to see how it works. Nesting Grounds on its own happens to be a pretty slow card because as your creatures are gaining all of their evergreen abilities, you're holding on to them in your hand. So you're actively, in a way, trying not to cast your creatures until you've passed on the evergreen ability that you want to give them, which can be disadvantageous at times. So it's something definitely to keep in mind about this particular card. So we're getting somewhat bad luck here in that we're getting all of our Swiftblade Vindicators, but we are not getting any of our Nesting Grounds. Now, I wound up going ahead and using Nahiri's first ability to buff the Golem, just in case it winds up getting Reach or Defender, which that's exactly what just happened, because I did not want that Oblivion Sour to kill my my Giant. And so, yeah, I've played this deck quite a bit. I've been trying to make this video for maybe 3 or 4 hours, but the Giant very often winds up getting that Defender ability when I don't want it to get that Defender ability. So I was ready for it. I was prepared. All right, so now here what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to try and get as much loyalty as I can so that I can use Nahiri's second ability in order to try and get Nesting Grounds if I don't draw it. And, well, speak of the devil, there is Nesting Grounds. So this thing is a pain, but on the plus side, our Crystalline Giant is going to buff to 11 power this turn, so it will be able to kill that thing when it attacks. So let's go ahead and try and get this 5 match here. So we've got an extra turn. That's going to get us both Nesting Grounds and the Vindicator. And then, I might as well just consume that thing just in case he winds up getting a reinforcement or some other kind of horrible nonsense. But yeah, we'll see. So that's actually really nifty. The Giant just got double strike here. Now, one of the things about Nesting Grounds is that it's kind of cool, is that it's not going to transfer an ability that you already have. So once you've already transferred an ability to a creature, it's not going to repeat transfer that ability to your creatures. So you'll see here that the Swiftblade Vindicator gained Defender, and as I keep it out, the next thing it will gain is going to be First Strike or Menace, depending on how things go. So I'm actually going to go ahead and keep the first one on lockdown in my hand. I'd ideally like to get the Crystalline Giant to pick up Lifelink. That would be pretty fantastic, and then transfer Lifelink to the Vindicator. So we'll see what it gets. Berserker, okay, not the end of the world. We lose our Berserker, but that's okay. And so now we're going to pass on. We'll have to find out, but I'm guessing that it's going to be Menace or First Strike. It passed on First Strike. So Menace is now going to be the only thing that it can. Let's use Lithomancy to draw 2 more cards, see if we can pick anything else up that we don't already have. We're going to go ahead and play some more Loyalty Converters just so that we can get a little bit more conversion goodness. Our Giant is picking up Vigilance, which means that the only remaining thing to pass on is the Menace ability to our Vindicator. And so you'll see that the Vindicator has now gained all 3 of the abilities. Now, let's see, what would be our best bet? We're going to want to make some matches for mana. We're going to want to play Bonder's Enclave, and then I'm actually going to go ahead and use Nahiri's second here again. I want to try and draw into another creature. So the game is like, no, you will not draw into creatures. This is part of your punishment for running no mythics. No escape to the wilds for you. So now here we've got Death Touch. That means that our Vindicator is going to have Death Touch, which is perfect. This is now actually going to be a great time to play the Vindicator because it's got Berserker, it's got First Strike, it's got Death Touch. That means it's basically going to kill anything that our opponent plays down. So that's pretty solid. We're going to go ahead and take that double match so that we can start pumping Nahiri's first ability into both our Vindicator and our Giant. They've both got double strike, so instead of giving each of them +4 power, it's really kind of like giving them 8 power. And so we've got the Hound. I want to actually get that Hound with double strike, so I'm going to hold on to the Hound for a little bit, see if I can't get the game to be nice and give me double strike. So if you're wondering, why are you going to hold on to that Hound, Nalthazar? I want double strike. I'm greedy. And yeah, that's really just it. I'm a little bit greedy. So getting Trample there is nice because we've got Berserker. We've been killing their creatures, but this means that our Giant is going to have its damage go through. You'll see that the giant now has 9 evergreens that it can pass on to our first creature. So it's going to be passing on quite a bit. Kuranos got flying. Okay, I feel like kind of like we're gambling here. We're like, all right, can we get the mechanic? Can we get the evergreen we want? We've already narrowed it down a lot. We just got hexproof. That's actually going to be a pretty sweet one to pass on. So let's see. What did dog get this time? Hello, doggy. Double strike. Perfect. Let's bring him on down. And then Justice Strike is not necessary. We're going to get another loyalty converter down, which means that we're just going to be converting the whole world to loyalty. And then now we can go ahead and use Nissa's first ability basically every turn. And our opponent has, 2 turns left, right? I think 2 turns left, because this is going to be an additional 24 damage with all 3 of them having double strike. And nope, that's it. That's the end. So yeah, I feel like this is a pretty good showcase of how the card works, just in moving evergreens over and getting an incredible amount of evergreens on your creatures. So yeah, that's the card. Alrighty, so in conclusion, Nesting Grounds is more of just an okay card. I find that if I want to pass the evergreens on that I want, so things like Embercleave, things like Double Strike, which can be achieved with Embercleave, or Lifelink, which can be achieved with Staggering Insight, or with the Shadow Spear. I feel like those do the job better than Nesting Grounds does. So it took me about 3 or 4 hours, maybe 4, to get the footage for this video. And I was finding that it was pretty hard to showcase the ability beyond just getting that first ability down, because it kind of forces you to slow the game down if you want to take advantage of passing on the evergreens. So it's a cool card, but it's not like a super great powerful card. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Nesting Grounds. You should see it in the vault today. I'm imagining, I don't know, but I'm imagining it's going to be another $5 bundle like Agitator Ants. If you have to choose between the two, then I would absolutely go with Agitator Ants, because they're amazing and they're really fun. So yeah, anyways, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you guys in the next one.